Welcome to my view of the stock market, a daily review of the observations of the stock market today. And you can see this is the Nasdaq, and maybe some financial circles are making a big deal out of it. It's been down 4 out of the last 5 days, but all it's really done technically is, made a new high of 24,019, pulled back to the 50, found support and bounced, had that hammer candle on a Friday, and we expected it to, bounce on Monday, and it did, 2.27%. The last couple of days, it's been down 1/4%. Today, 0.17%. But this is just sideways action. This is really healthy, in my opinion. Of course, you never have to say in my opinion because I'm the one saying it. So I got to slap myself or do a couple push-ups for saying that stuff. Anyway, it just closed, right at its five. That's perfectly healthy, perfectly fine. The financial media is going to make a big deal out of, the Nasdaq being down 4 out of 5 days. It's just a rotation, and the rotation is healthy for the uptrend, going forward. And you can see the Nasdaq now closed 2.8% above its 50, which is fine, 0.7% above its 21. I prefer it here as opposed to here. You know what? We know when it gets, 6% above its 50, as it was 7% on the 29th. Well, that's usually when it gets a little wonky, and it sure did. And it pulled back, and so this is fine. I would rather be buying here than up here. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but yeah, when the index is more than 6% above its 50, I don't like buying stocks at that point. I think the risk reward is a lot better here at 2.8% above. So anyway, I just got to point out, since I mentioned the Dow has been the big winner. Yes. First close above 48,000. So there's your cocktail information, right? Uh, it closed today at 48 to 257. Looks to me like it's just another technical bounce, and this one's been a little sharper than the Nasdaq. That's fine. It's 3.7% above its 50, probably going to 49. It's going to be a 49er soon. And then off to 50,000, and then we can wear our 50,000 hats and celebrate and have more cocktail information. All right. I want to point out though that some of the strength in the Dow Jones, it's a price weighted index as opposed to the S&P, which is a market cap weighted index, which makes, Nvidia and Apple and Microsoft and Google and Meta and Amazon carry so much weight in that index. This is price weighted. So Goldman Sachs at $839 is weighted to a greater degree than a stock like, Apple, which is what, 275 or something, 273. So when Goldman Sachs is up this much, like it was today, 3.5%, that carries more weight in the Dow than some of the other stocks. I think that's the most expensive stock in the Dow. And I know the Dow doesn't like, really high price stocks like 800, 1,000. So maybe these guys will split pretty soon, 2 for 1, and get that price back down, under 500. But anyway, AXP, this is another stock. And I kind of like the rotation into this type of stocks. This is AXP at 372, so it's got some weight. It was up, less than 1%, but still driving that index higher. You could see the cash flow, return on equity. These are companies that are not going to move, like Oklo or Rigetti, but they have the balance sheet, and so I think the market's getting a little defensive here, and trading away from the AI infrastructure stocks and into some of these, safer plays, safer havens. I don't know if you call United Health a safer haven, but it was up 3.5%, $330 stock, so it carries some weight. And this is what's driving, the Dow Jones higher. Caterpillar, they announced, earnings recently and had a nice move right here. The gap higher just pulled back, didn't even come down to its 21. But, when that's up 1%, it's a $573 stock, so it's going to carry more weight. IBM, this one was up a lot today. They announced some quantum, and it closed near the lows of the session. Yeah, it just really dudded out. But still that 319.35 to me would be the trigger. And yeah, it just pulled back to its five, closed 1.1% above the five. But those are some of the larger priced stocks on the Dow that are kind of driving it higher. I just wanted to explain that. The Dow is outperforming the Nasdaq after the Nasdaq has had a monster run of like 60 62%, I think it was, since Liberation Day. But anyway, I trade stocks. I don't trade the indexes, so I'm not really that concerned with the indexes. And if you look at the SPY, yeah, just eking out these little losses and gains here recently as it pulled back to the 50 on Friday, and we had a little bit of a bounce this week. Monday was the big day. Now it's kind of gone sideways. Still up, yeah, 1.85% this week. So it's all good. The market's fine. There's some individual stocks getting hammered. I'm going to get to that right now because a lot of people are, that I'm running circles with, they think this thing's going to the moon, but it went from $5.13 here at Liberation Day up to what, 76.87. This is like a 14 bagger, you know, in a 6, 7 month period. So you can't expect these things to go to the moon, and a pullback to the 50 or even, lower is totally warranted because you got to expect some profit taking along the way. So, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think this is totally normal and natural that this is this isn't this isn't Nvidia or one of these established companies, Apple or some of those names, Goldman Sachs. They don't have that type of balance sheet. So as they rotate into those stocks, they're rotating out of this type of name, which is the AI infrastructure. And they'll come back. They'll be back. Maybe this thing will pull back and retest that 48.20 that it hit that low on October 22. You just got to watch when your stock starts selling off like this, you want to look for where it finds support. It had been finding support at the fives. You could see all the way up. Then it sliced the five, sliced the 21, then rallied back above. Now you think, okay, it's going to get support at the five, but nope, it didn't. Okay, it's going to get support at the 21. Nope, it didn't. So this is kind of like, I wouldn't say in a free fall. It's just in an area where it's looking for support. It met resistance and now it's looking for support, and that'll give you kind of a trade range on Iris Energy. There's nothing wrong with the company or this, or, these things happen in the stock market. They don't go up forever. When you have a 14 bagger in 6 months, you'd be a fool not to take some profits. And I guess there's not a lot of fools out there. They're taking profits. CIFR mining, the same thing. People think this thing's going to the moon. I mean, this thing was what, a buck something on Liberation Day, and it ran up to 25. So, I mean, come on, folks. You got to take some profits here. Once again, it was finding support at the five, and then it undercut the 21, rallied up, made a new high, and then you expected to find support at the five. Nope. The 21, nope. And now it's looking for support, maybe 1504. It'll retest that old low there, or recent low, I should say. And the 50 is 1590 today. So maybe to just pull back to the 50. But this is, interesting stuff for me to observe. Very strong momentum names, just selling off, some profit taking, and they'll find their footing. They'll find support, and they'll be stocks to buy again. But let them set up, and don't be a fool and rush in. Let the profit takers have their way with this stock, and we'll revisit these later. NBIS reported yesterday or the day before. I don't know. The days are running, they're blurring. This one is like a double bottom base now here, 141 to 94. It ran up and now has undercut the 94.63 level today. So, it's just setting up in a base. This is fine. The low was 91.71 and the high was 141.10 on October 10th. So it's been, I don't know, 5 weeks. Let's take a look at this on yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is the fifth week. So yeah, it's 33% off the high, which hurts, but this is what stocks do. They form bases. They go up, they form bases. Take a look at the weekly. That's what this thing has been doing, right? It ran up, formed a base, ran up. Now it's forming another base. There's nothing wrong with that. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So I know people want their stocks to go up every day, but it's just not reality. And that's why we swing trade. We try to buy, catch the meat of the trade, and then when it bases, we don't want any part of it. We get out and let it base, and we can revisit them. CoreWeave, this company really fooled me. I got to give them credit. I thought it was going to be the next eBay, but then that Core Scientific deal was a real tell for me. And then I listened to the CEO, and it's just like this is a total avoid for me. Right now, this is looking like it could be turn into a double bottom base here. I think it's going lower, below the 84.40. We'll see. What was the low today, folks? It looks like it closed near the low 2% of the daily range, 85.32. So maybe it'll just kind of revisit there and bounce. Out of those ones that I just mentioned, this would be the least likely that I would be wanting to own for longer term. Speaking of, finding support and bouncing, Bloom Energy, this one traded down to its 21, and this is good information to have. Like if you want to own this or if you do own it, I mean, it had been finding support at the 21, right? It ran up. It was finding support at the 5 here, but then it pulled back, found support at the 21. It ran up, found support at the 21, ran up, and now here it is at the 21. So is it going to find support and bounce here today? I would say, yeah, I think it will. Today's action was very positive I can't say in my opinion because I'm the one speaking, darn it. I'm gonna have to do more push-ups. Traded down to its 21, which was 121.40 today. The low is 118.64. So it undercut a little bit, a little look below, and then now finished $8 above the low of the session. So I'd say $8 is roughly, I don't know, 6% bounce there for Bloom Energy. I'm not going to do the math here in my head, but so what I would expect tomorrow would be maybe a little bit of sell-off at the open, but then a rally. Like we saw today, the high was 131 at the open, sold off, hit that low of 118, and then buyers came in. To me, this is like machine buying, right? Like institutions are saying, I want to buy Bloom Energy off the 21, so they just program it. And that looks like that type of action today. Just below average volume here this week on this little sell-off. I don't even know if you'd call it a sell-off, but yeah, it's down for the week. It's having a rough week. 6%. Yeah, that's not a good week. But anyway, like I said, they don't go to the sky, right? They're going to be pullbacks along the way. What we want to see is where is it going to find support? So far, the 21. So far, maybe it has other ideas, or maybe it'll bounce. You just got to wait and see. And the other one is Robinhood. This one, I'm not as enthused about Robinhood. Why? Well, because of all the times that it's come back to the 50, had this big run, got liberated, ran up to what, 117, and then pulled back to the 50, found support, great. Bounced up to 153, made a new high, came to the 50 again, bounced, didn't make a new high here. Did not make a new high, came back to the 50 again, undercut the 50, rallied up to the moving average of the 21, and now got pushed back to the 50. This is too many trips to the 50 for my liking. Sure, it may bounce, but for me, to get interested in this stock again, what I would rather have it do is undercut the 120.88 and make a double bottom here and then rally up, and we can get it there around the 150 level and see it make new highs. But this thing has some work to do. Like I say, if you're from Missouri, you got to show me, and Robinhood has not done that. So I want to move on to really the news of the day was AMD. Lisa Su. I love listening to her speak because she speaks with just a steady stream of consciousness. She's not BSing you because it's just the content just flows out of her brain, and it's a really I love listening to her speak. And so if you listen to some CEOs, they hem and haw and they fumble for words. That tells me that they're kind of BSing. She just knows her content and she tells it like it is, and they're going to be it's an undercut of the 21 and a rally back above, but they're going to be earning, I don't know, $20 here pretty soon. It sounded like with their new chip that it's going to be providing results here in 2026, which is their next earnings. They don't report till February, so I want to hear from them again. But you got to take she's been doing it for a long time. One of the things that she said that I caught my ear is that everything is being accelerated in this cycle. Now she's been doing this for 40 years, and she's saying this is the fastest, or the acceleration of the moves and the deals and the business during this AI revolution is way faster than anything that she's ever seen. And we see that reflected in the stock market, just like with the companies that I just showed you. You don't see 14 baggers here in 6 months. This is the acceleration of the AI movement. And she was talking about that. And so things are happening very fast. It's being reflected in the stock market. You might see your stock up 10% one day and down 20% the next day, and you're saying, "Oh man, that's just the market that we have now." So we deal with the market that we have, not the one that we want to have. And I thought it was very interesting listening to her talk about the acceleration of just everything in the market, not only the data centers and the chips, just all the connectors, all the companies are involved, OpenAI and the large language models, just all of it. Yeah, she's a fascinating person for me to listen to. I thought that AMD might have the cachet to carry some of these semiconductor names and some of the connectors and the AI, but they really didn't. I just showed you, the Nasdaq was down, and Broadcom just it was up 1%, not bad. Rambus, another name that was down today, it undercut its 21. A Lab, you think that it would have some juice from the AMD numbers, but nope, down. God, really had a bad day. More than 5%. Credo, another one. Okay, pull back to its 50, trying to hang in there, up 1%, but AMD didn't really have the cachet to really have pin action with the rest of the group. So anyway, I thought that was interesting too, and a tell that they're just selling the AI stocks right now and buying those, Dow stocks and industrial stocks, and that's okay. That's quite all right. That's the way bull markets work, and they'll come back for these, trust me, especially if they keep delivering, triple digit, sales and earnings growth. That matters. All right, another group that I like that I'm watching that I own, Sanmina, this one ran up. Now, this is an AMD partner, so I thought this one would really rip today, but it really didn't. They bought the data center, ZT, I believe it is. And so they're kind of like an AMD partner, trading kind of like AMD right now. Definitely this little bull wedge pattern as it pulled back to the five. Not much of a pop today, a third of a percent, but with the Nasdaq being down, I'm going to take that all day long as a win. TTMI is another one of these electrical contracting manufacturing stocks making new highs. Super strong name. It's got, decent sales and earnings growth. And then, of course, Celestica. I always expect this one to move higher, but it's just consolidating in a base here. This is not quite a flat base because it's only been 3 weeks, and just pulling back to its moving average. That looks fine to me. And what you want to do is, see if it finds support. It certainly did there at the 21 last Friday, and popped on Monday, and now it's just kind of like the Nasdaq going sideways. That's it for that group. The other group is the computer data storage group. SanDisk, just an absolute monster. This is the one that I think this is like one of these model book stocks that you're going to have to own. Once again, I'm going to go. It's what, 41 billion now. I still don't think it's expensive. It could go up to 50 billion. I'll say the same thing. Why? Well, because they're going to earn $12 next year, and they're going to earn $20 in 2027. So I don't know what $20 in earnings is worth, but it's more than $283, especially when you're growing at, 30, 40, 50%. As you could see here, $12 to $20. What's the percentage there, folks? Work it out for me, 40%. I don't know. This thing, I'm not going to say it's undervalued. I'm not going to say it's cheap. Obviously, this thing is extended beyond belief. It's 9.6% above its 5 EMA, but this is what they call is in price discovery mode. And I think it's just going to go higher. Look at the big blue volume bars. Even when the Nasdaq's pulling back, this thing's just romping higher, up 4% today. Yeah, it's in price discovery. I don't know where it's going to stop. 300 maybe? That would be my guess. And then maybe, I don't know, pull back to the 21 or form a base, a flat base or something. But this thing wants higher. That's all I can say. Not the mothership though. The mothership pulled back today. Western Digital pulled back. It pulled back to its five. So, like I say, these types of days are providing good information if you own Western Digital. Is it going to find support at the five and bounce? Is it going to slice the five, pull back to the 21? Is it going to trade in between? We don't know yet. So you just got to hang on. If you got a good price here, like at the 137.40, and you can kind of let it wiggle around a little bit. If you bought it extended here, then you're kind of sweating the bullets a little bit. And if you bought it back here, back by the base, at 58 bucks, you can afford to let it, wiggle around a lot. So your entry price is pretty critical. Micron. Man, just these things are, what can I say? They're in demand. This is the number two ranked group, but it's a top performing group, and there's just about every stock in this group is just super strong. Um, Seagate, another one that pulled back to the five today. One that I don't mention much that I should. Pure Storage. Okay, pulled back to the 50, so it's weaker than the other ones. I think just looking at those charts, SanDisk is definitely the one to own in that group. All right, I'm going to move on here to gold, man. I'm kicking myself because I wanted to put this one on my ready list this morning, and I didn't. This one in Barrick Mining, I wanted a gold stock. I put a machine stock on and an oil stock, and I wanted to put a gold stock on. I totally had a brain fart, but definitely 79.94 was the trigger there. Yeah, this is why I need a chat. Instrument because I would have been, screaming at the top of my lungs, pounding the table, as they say. 79.94, just call it 80 bucks. Above 80, that's out of the box there. So those momentum traders or Darvish traders or those Wyckoff, O'Neill, IBD traders, they gravitate to stuff like that. So I think that thing has room to run on the upside. The other one I mentioned was Barrick. The gold was what, 4,200 today? When I posted in the morning, at what 7 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. in the East Coast, 6 a.m. on the West Coast. Um, Gold was only up a smidgen, a fraction. It was at like 4,000, like 50, and then it just romped 2%. It was up over 4,200, and these stocks reflected that. Barrick, the same thing, 36.40 would be your trigger. Just because I didn't put it on today doesn't mean you can't make a note. Like yesterday, I said take a pencil in paper and write these ticker symbols down. And people were saying, oh man, like picture pages, and I don't mean to be condescending at all. I'm the last guy to be condescending. You got to be humble in this business or it'll humble you quickly. But there are some tickers that I'm going to get to. So you should get your pencils out and your paper and do your own due diligence. Don't just trust me because I'm wrong often as well. But this is definitely a breakout, like I mentioned earlier with AU, the Wyckoff, O'Neill, Darvis type of traders are going to be gravitating towards Barrick Mining above 36.40. There's just a lot of stocks in this group that look pretty darn good to me. Um, did I write them down? Just the usual suspects. At Nico Eagle. Now this one, it has a gap to fill here. Is it gap lower on this date? So I think that gap, what's the low on this date here? 174.95, 168. Yeah, there's definitely a gap. Okay? It almost filled it today. So yeah, this one looks good. They're breaking above their downtrend lines and just trading higher. What else do I have here? I just scribbled these names down and oh. What is Eris Mining? Yeah, this one at 1124. I like this one. It pulled back, undercut the 50, rallied back up, and that's ready to go right there. This is one that I haven't talked about, but definitely came across my radar today. As it undercut the 50, rallied back up, and now it's out of the box. What's in the box? Not Eris Mining. It actually made it out of there just a smidge, though, like 1%. So it's got some work to do. But it's got the sales and earnings growth that we like. It's only a 1.9 billion market cap. It's not a big company, but a lot of these companies did very well today. The gold miners, Newmont, once again here, this is the largest one, market cap, 102 billion now, undercut the 50 now, rallied back up. What else do I have? Oh, the copper names, copper up as well. This is Ivanhoe pulled back to the 50, found support, now starting to bounce. SCCO, kind of flat on the day. It's above the five though, so that looks okay. Okay, that's it for the miners. I got to go to gold, the gold names. This is one that I did put on. It just it probably is going to need a few days. This is not a fast moving stock. It's got the oil and gas, both components. The natural gas, I think, is going to be pretty important in 2026 or this winter. But you can see the consolidation pattern here. I got to go to the weekly. Yeah, this has been a while here. It consolidated here in a double bit bottom base, ran up, consolidated again, ran up, and now here we go. It's been 20 weeks. So what is that, 5 months? Maybe it'll take some time to pull back, form a handle here or something, get some of those profit takers out of there because it did rally off the lows, 50 up to 60. So we'll see if there's some profit takers there on a 20% move. There should be. What else do I have here that I like? I like VLO, another slower moving one though. This is, it pulled back to the 5 today. I think it's going to form a handle there. Flat base pattern, but these are, companies with, they pay a dividend yield, big cash flow, return on equity. These are slower moving companies. I don't want to call them widow stock. That's disrespectful, but it's um, it's just a slower moving stock and people who are working and it's good for a retirement account longer term. So same with, like Chevron, these have pay nice dividends and it's a longer term, investment. Boy, that's been sideways for a long time, but yeah, lower left, upper right, that's 20 years of holding. So, yeah, that's kind of what you get with the oil and gas stocks. They're not the fastest movers. IMO, in my opinion, coupled with handle breaking out of it now. Once again, slower movers, right? They're just up 2/3%. These ones aren't going to blast off like AMD or SanDisk, but very steady eddies, and they look good to me. I like stocks in bases or trading tight to their moving averages, like this one. This is Frontline, oil and gas transportation pipeline. You should be writing that one down. Pull back to the 50, keeps finding support a couple of times there. Over 24.27. I like Frontline. G4, man, this one has been super strong as well. Just straight up off the lows, which I don't like, 160, 165, 173, making higher lows. And now here it is at 211. Probably going to get up to that trigger, 210.32, and sell off a couple of days. Why? Well, because people are going to take profits and it'll trade down to one of these moving averages and give us a chance to get in if you're interested in go for it. That's why I didn't put that one on the ready list, but I like it a lot. And I also like this one. Comstock Resources, it's getting a little extended here, straight up off the lows again. 1689 up to 25.22. That's a big move in a short period of time, but 31.47 is the old high. So let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, this is just working on the right side of its base. So yeah, the oil and gas stocks are intriguing to me right now, but not as intriguing as the drug stocks. Eli Lilly, this thing is just a monster. It's a beast, and you can see how long it took in consolidation here from back in, does it go back to December of 24, I believe, even further back than that. Yeah, September, August of 2024. It's been in a base for that period of time now. It's rallied off the lows and really had a strong run here recently, making new highs. I put that on the ready list last week, and this is one that I don't trade. I have it in a retirement account. I don't even really bother with it. It's in there with some other lemons like Target and Bristol Myers. That's the way it goes. Just longer term stuff. But I'll uh, give to my family. What other names do I have here? Oh, Novo. Yeah, I think Novo. I'm going to say this again for the 10th time. I think it's hit a bottom. I think if you got it under 50, you did pretty good. I'm just going to say that for longer term investors. I'm not saying it's a, trade here. Maybe it is off the lows of what, 45 last week. Yeah, it's already up, 10%. I just think that this got too much going for it. I think they're going to buy Viking here eventually, maybe not this year, but sometime in 2026, maybe. They have a lot of money to spend. Novo Holdings has money. I mean, they just put in a $10 billion bid for Metsera, right? Yeah, it's got that cash flow, return on equity. And the Novo Holdings is an entirely different company for Novo, and that's where their cash is. And that's where the big bazooka comes out and takes out some of these smaller companies. I think there's a puncher's chance that they buy Viking. CNTA, definitely not a sure thing when you talk about M&A. This one was up. This is a medical research company up 18% today, so that's a move not to be ignored. And one that I really like is COLL, Collegium. Of course, anybody likes a stock that goes from 31 to 47, right? Duh. But what I like about it here is the numbers here, the forward numbers. If you're looking at Collegium, they're going to earn 740, call it 750 this year, $7.58, and it's trading at $47 next year. They're going to make over $8 in earnings. You can see their sales and earnings here. They're delivering strong earnings for this has got a PE of 6, and I don't use the value of PE, but I will say that they, have I don't know what, 700 million, 800 million in sales and a market cap of 1.4. So it's trading less than 2 times sales. So that's cheap by, any metric here. So I think this is in price discovery as well, up 5.6% today. And you think, man, I can't buy it up here. It's extended. You're right. But one day it'll pull back, and I still think it's cheap. I think it could go to 100. It would still be cheap, provided that their sales keep up here, and that's always one of the variables that we don't know about, right? Criteria, important criteria. Just a lot of names that I like in this group. I went through them yesterday. I'm going through them again today. I'm going to continue, because the XBI and the medical and the drug stocks are doing really well finally after so many years of just wallowing in the mire. But made a high of 2116 today. Closed, the 2075, not near the high of the daily range, but still a nice move for that one. ILMN. Illumina gapped up on earnings. This is one of the gappers, 25%. Now it's just going sideways, allowing the 5 to catch up. And we know these flags have been working. The flag, you got to, pay attention to those flags. Who else do I have here? Man, just a lot of them. IMNM is another one that I like. And this one kind of formed a flat base pattern. It looked like it wanted to bust out today. I was watching this one and it just pulled back, made a high, got up near 18, and it got a little scared of that 18 number and just pulled in just a little bit. If we take a look at the 5, yeah, here it is. I want to go up to 18. Nope, I'm going to pull back. It's okay. We'll allow you that and do it another day, right? ASMB, this is another one that's just blasting higher. Biotech stock, and you can see the group, top 5 group. Market cap 269 million, a micro mini stock, but just pointing out new highs, just pointing out strength. I think we'd all like an 8% gain in a day, not bad. ONC, this one, $377 stock in this what you'd call, the Darvis box, right? 355. Once again, those O'Neill, Wyckoff, Darvis traders, they love stuff like this. So minimum play. New highs begets more new highs, and that's the thought process behind buying new highs. You can't be afraid of new highs, especially with that type of volume. So that's not to be ignored. A nice 10% move today with volume for B1 Medicines. Yeah, that looks good. ONC is the ticker symbol. AXSM, this is a quality stock. They got sales and earnings growth. Not so much earnings, but they are going to have earnings. It's going from losing money to making money here next year. And you can see this thing broke out. It's just running higher, making new highs here on the weekly. That's a thing of beauty. How many weeks in a row is that up? Ooh, man, about 9 or 10. So yeah, I like it when my stocks go higher. KYMR, Martin KYMR, KYMR Therapeutics. Once again, making new highs above that 63.96 would be an area of interest. It popped above it today and closed near the lows of the session, 21%. It's on the lower quartile. Yeah, it hit up to 65, 69, then pulled back a little bit. So definitely one to watch there above 63.96. I could put that one on my ready list. And an RVMD, this is one that's on our every morning I post a relative strength list, and obviously this one's showing relative strength. You got to forget the numbers down here. There's a lot of speculation. So Revolution Medicine is doing its thing, and so is INSM, just grinding higher. This one's on our list as well, our relative strength list. And anyway, that I think that's enough drug stocks for today. I have to point out some strength in the financial names. These big banks, Morgan Stanley, 270 billion market cap, rallying 2% today to make new highs. That's not to be ignored. Jamie Dimon having dinner at the White House. He's pressing palms, doing what he has to do for his company. But this should be on my ready list as well. 318.01. Nice consolidation there in a flat base pattern. Yeah, that just looks like it wants to be higher. Once again, this is one of those ones that you kind of put away in an IREN and just kind of let it do its thing for over time. Not a real great swing trader stock because it doesn't move that fast. And then SF, this is a Stifel Financial consolidating in a base. And look at these big blue bars. This thing's been rallying here out of this cup shape pattern. This really is the flat base is really the handle. And then last 5 weeks, 6 weeks, it's just been rallying to new highs. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing. I just got to point out some interesting action for me. I think it's interesting in this open door. It's got a lot of short sellers. It's got a lot of retail folks. There's a nice battle going on. I had mentioned that it had broken above its downtrend line and that $8.55 was the trigger, and it certainly triggered today. But what I found interesting, because they have this warrant that expires on the 18th of next week, which is what, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. And once it got above $9 today, this really accelerated right here. You can see it, it was kept down below nine, below nine. As soon as it hit nine, there was some profit takers, but man, into the close, those shorts sure did cover. I mean, it went from what, nine to close at 937. That's a big move for a $9 stock. And it was up 10.5% today. I think the shorts are going to continue to cover into the warrant expiration. And yeah, so the next point of emphasis or your next trigger would be 969. And I'm not going to put this one on the right list. It's just got a lot going on here. And I think I like the CEO. He's a dynamic guy. I think it's going to go way higher over time. But short term, it's got a lot of short sellers and they can knock this thing down. Um, yeah, I would, I don't know. I'm hesitant to put that on, but I do like the stock. I do like the management team. I think it's fascinating that the retail was able to oust the CEO. I mean, how many times you hear that happening? The retail folks get rid of the CEO. Yeah, it's up 43% this week. So I would say the shorts are covering. A nice move for open door. I just wanted to point that out. Stock with momentum because the shorts are covering. You could see here it was making lower lows all the way down here, lower low, 623, lower low. It was like four something last week. Lower low, finished with the hammer candle on Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Bam, bam, bam. Look at those hammer candles. That's short covering. And they're covering into the close. And I think it's going higher. I want to know what the price was on that low Friday because somebody got a good deal there. What was it? A 524 on Friday, and now it's 937. So I don't know what the percentage is of that move, but it's a big one in a short period of time. Anyway, tonight, Cisco Systems reported. Good report. It's up 7% after hours. It's rocking. I'm gonna have to call my friends in Silicon Valley that said they're gonna retire when it hits 80. The chart doesn't even go back that far. It was, trust me, $80 in March of 2000 before the dot-com crash. I guess I could do this just for kick. Yeah, there it is. Yay. It hit $82. Okay. So once it gets back there, I have friends who are they said they're gonna retire, but they won't because they love working. They love Cisco, but it just is a joke. They'll probably sell some stock though. And I better get to today's date. Anyway, it always warms my heart. I got a soft spot in my heart for Cisco Systems. Um, Fabulous company. It was a go-go stock, one of the great stocks ever. It was like a 80,000% move from 1990 to 2000. But anyway, it's up tomorrow. Back in the day, if this thing was up 7%, the whole stock market, we were rocking 3 or 4% higher. I don't know how much, cachet it has to move. Maybe some of the networking names, I don't know. Maybe Arista, yeah, it's getting a little pin action after hours. CALX is another one that might get some pin action. These networking names. And then Extreme Networks, have some folks that work at Extreme too. It was doing really well. Now it's pulled back, still forming a base. But yeah, they might get some pin action around the networkers. I don't know if it's going to pull, the AI stocks. I doubt it. And the other one that reported tonight was Flutter Entertainment. It's fluttering. All right. Boy, what a sell-off. It's kind of flat after hours. I'll have more in the morning on the earnings tonight and the earnings tomorrow. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Have a great evening, everybody.